Hi everyone, it's Rachel here from the Shades of Orange. Today I want to do my November wrap-up. I read a total of 8 books this month, including some fantastic titles. But before I get started, I want to do a quick Booktuber shoutout. Today I want to shout out Rosie from Sparkles Books, and she is a brand new booktuber, as in when I'm filming this on Sunday, she has 18 subscribers. And I believe she just recently read Gone Girl in the last maybe year, and since then has been in a big thriller, mystery, crime kick. And you know me, I love reading those kind of books, and I love to see more people on Booktube reading those. You know, she reads also a lot of underhyped books, which I really appreciate when people find books that are less hyped on Booktube, because there's a lot of buzzy books that show up on everyone's channel. So yeah, go check her out. She only has 18 subscribers, so I'd love to get her over 100, and really encourage her to keep filming videos because then I can watch them. So I'm basically doing this for selfish reasons, you know. But on to the books. The first book I read this month was Pointe by Brandy Colbert, and this is a book about a teenage ballerina who's African American, and the book starts out with her best friend, who's been missing for years, has just shown up after he was released from his kidnapper, and the story is very intricate. The one thing I want to say is this is not a suspense book as I thought. I thought this was going to be like a thriller, mystery, suspense story, but it's very much a contemporary story that deals with real teenage issues. And so the book really does follow the main character, the ballerina's story, not her friend's story. He's definitely part of it, but it's really about how she's reacting to what happened to her friend, and she's struggling with an eating disorder. While it does have a romance plot, I feel like the author found a fresh way of doing that really kind of turns it on its head, because every YA book seems to have a romance in it, but I really like what she did with this one. And overall, really liked it. Probably my favorite book of the month. I gave it 4.5 stars. Again, it's not that mystery book, but if you're someone who likes an emotional YA book that deals with real teenage issues, which I really love. It's a book that reminds me of like Speak by Laurie Halse Anderson. So if you're into that kind of book, I highly, highly recommend this one. I feel like it was kind of underhyped, and I didn't hear a lot of other people talking about it. So yeah, go check it out. Now after that, I listened to the audiobook of MWFC BFF, My Yearlong Search for a New Best Friend by Rachel Bertsche. And this is a memoir all about a young woman in her, I believe, late 20s who goes on a quest to find friends in her local city. She previously had moved and left her friends behind, and so she embarks on going on 52 girl dates over the course of a year, and I just find it really fascinating. Admittedly, I enjoy those kind of manufactured memoirs where people take on a project and do it for a year. I just find it really fun to read. So if you don't like that kind of thing, you probably won't like this, but I just thought it was a really good story, and it's definitely a story that once I'm done, it always reminds me how important it is to make time for my friends and just be open to new friends when, you know, new people move into a city and don't necessarily have friends, because it talks a lot about the difficulties of making friends as an adult, because it's so much easier when you're a kid and you have camp and school and activities that kind of force you into those friendships. So it's a really interesting story, and just highly recommend it. It's not perfect, I have some issues with it, but if you're curious about it, definitely go pick it up. I've reread it a couple times because I just find it a really fun story about female friendship. Now after that, I read the author's follow-up memoir called Jennifer, Gwyneth and Me by Rachel Bertsche, and this is about her attempt to emulate celebrities. So 1 month at a time, she focuses on Jennifer Aniston's exercise routine and then Gwyneth Paltrow's cooking, and goes forth from there. It's kind of, again, that kind of fun, do something for a year. If you're looking for a project, I find it kind of a bit inspiring to see what kind of do something for a year project you could do. But it's not the best book. I kind of described it as brain candy. There's nothing really deep in the book. And also I should mention, because it's not really in the marketing material, but the book deals a lot with the author's infertility issues. She's trying to get pregnant while she's writing this book. And I have a feeling that part of the reason she takes on this project is just to have a distraction while she's not getting pregnant. It's okay. I think I gave it like 2.5 stars. It was interesting. I admit I read it all the way through quite quickly, but I can't really recommend it very highly. It wasn't that great of a book. Now after that, I read an awesome suspense/thriller book, and that is The Guise of Another by Eskens. You previously heard me rave about his first book, a mystery called The Life We Bury, and this is his follow-up book to that. It's set in the same Minnesota area, but it is not a sequel. It has totally different characters, and you can pick up this one without having read the previous book. And in fact, they're super different. So my main complaint with this book was that when I went into it, I thought it was going to be another mystery that was kind of slower paced like the last one. And this one is not so much a mystery, but really I'd categorize it on the side of thrillers. It's very violent, action-packed. It bounces between perspectives, and because it does that, it kind of gives away the whodunit. Overall, I was really impressed by the book and gave it 4 stars, so definitely recommend that one. Now after that, I listened to the 3rd book in the Iron Druid Chronicles, and that was called Hammered by Kevin Hearne. I've been talking about this book for a couple months. It's an urban fantasy about a 2,000-year-old druid and his group of kind of supernatural friends in a world where basically all the gods exist. Admittedly, I didn't like this one as much as the first 2 in the series. I felt this one was a lot more serious, which meant that it had a lot less humor, which is basically my favorite part. Is I just love the jokes in this book. It makes tons of pop culture references, but this one fell a little bit flat. I've heard the next book is pretty good though, so I will be continuing on, but decent book, but we'll see. I always have this problem with series that I love the first book or 2 and then it kind of goes downhill for me. So maybe it's me, not the book, but we'll see. After that, I read something totally different, and that is Star Wars: The Courtship of Princess Leia by Dave Wolverton. And this is a Star Wars book that goes back from the days of the prequels, all about the start of the romance between Han Solo and Princess Leia after Return of the Jedi. I am a huge Star Wars nerd. I love the movies. I rewatch them on a yearly basis. I am so excited for the new one coming out and just really wanted to get behind the hype. It's incredibly cheesy, really corny. It was, I think, voted Kotaku's worst Star Wars book ever, and I kind of know why they did it, but I was really wanting to read it. It's got a lot of romance in it, and it was just kind of the cheesy, fun story I was looking for, so I enjoyed it, but it's not the best Star Wars book. I think I gave it like 3.5 stars. There's better ones out there, and hopefully I'll be continuing on in preparation for the movie coming out because I'm so excited. I also read an ebook from my library called The Fringe Hours, Making Time for You by Jessica Turner, and this is a book about basically targeted for women, focusing on the idea of making time for yourselves and carving out hours for things that you like, and just really prioritizing what's important to you, and like I said, having time to, whether it be read or knit or whatever you find good, you know, making time for yourself. I love the message in this book, but honestly, I felt like it was pretty simplistic. It gave advice that, you know, is pretty obvious. I think there's better books out there, so yeah, don't really recommend that one. Finally, the last thing I read this month was Dumpling by Julie Murphy. And this I read as an audiobook. It's all about an overweight teenage girl who decides to go and enter a beauty pageant, and also deals with some side issues. There's a subplot with her best friend as well as a potential love interest. And it's just a good YA contemporary. I didn't think it was perfect, but what I liked about it was the southern United States setting. I'm from Canada, so I know nothing about pageants and homecoming, and you know, it's really not my world, but I loved reading about it. I thought it was so interesting, really getting a perspective on what it might look like to live in Texas and to grow up there and have those experiences and have that culture around you. So really enjoyed that aspect. I thought the female characters were well developed and dynamic. Willow Dean, I almost described her as an unlikable character in a previous video. It's not so much she's unlikable, that she makes very frustrating decisions. And as a reader, I just wanted to shake her and, you know, have her stop making bad decisions, because I didn't understand why she was making the choices she did. But at the same time, I thought she was really realistic and, you know, very well done. I thought the male characters were super flat. There were 2 potential love interests in this book, and I did not care about either of them. For me, the most challenging part of this book was that the author was really trying to make a body positive book, but it's hard to do that when your main character is very insecure about her weight. The beginning of the book, the main character Willow Dean is really happy with who she is, but as the book progresses, she really faces her own insecurities. And it's kind of hard to find that balance when the author is trying to give a message of body positivity, but the main character who's telling us the story is telling us through her own lens. So she's talking about her own body fat and about how other girls look, whether they be fat or skinny, really focusing on their bodies. And it's just a strange balance. I think it's just a really hard topic to address. Overall, I thought it was pretty good. It was about 3.5 stars for me. If you're someone who loves YA contemporary, you'll probably like it more than I did. I don't always love YA, particularly YA romance, so I'm kind of hit or miss with that. So keep that in mind. If you're really excited for the book, don't let my review hold you back from picking it up. That's everything I read this month. It's good to finally be back in a reading mood. October was such a wash, and I'm really looking forward to December. Hope everyone's having a good day. Please tell me down below if you've read any of these books, or let me know what was your favorite book that you read in November. I'll talk to you again soon. Okay, bye.